Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this session on circular economy strengthening the resilience of the EU economy. My name is Stefano Soro. I'm hail from the European Commission, DG GROW, and it's my pleasure and honor to moderate this session today. I don't think I have to convince anyone about the importance of going circular in Europe and beyond for the economy. But if I had to convince someone, I would use a few figures. Every year in Europe only, in the European Union only, we use more or less to run our economy 8 gigatons of raw materials. 8 gigatons is 8 billion tons, which is the equivalent of 160,000 Titanic ships or 16 times the population of the whole world every year. Of these 8 gigatons, 8 billion tons, about 12%, has some forms of circularity. The rest is a linear model, take, make, waste. And even this 1 gigaton, this 12% that has some form of circularity, usually has the lowest form of circularity, which is recycling. So, we started talking about circularity a few years ago, mostly for reasons of environmental and climate sustainability. And this is all very good. We have in Europe a climate law with emission reduction targets, which we have to respect, and circularity is one of the cornerstones to achieving these objectives. But about a year ago, when the COVID pandemic started to slow down, we saw what happened to the prices of these material inputs I was talking before. I'm not talking only about gas and oil. I'm talking about things that we need, that we're going to need more and more, like rare earths, lithium, etc., etc. So it became also a question of economic and financial sustainability. And even if someone is mad enough to think that climate change and man's input on climate change are complete fiction, they would be convinced by the financial arguments of keeping the resources in the economy as long as possible. And then, of course, in February, with the brutal aggression of Russia to Ukraine, we started also questioning the political and geopolitical sustainability of our model. And across all these sustainabilities, for which circularity is a very important element, there's a fourth element of sustainability, which is the social sustainability. We have to have a system which is circular, while at the same time continuing with our economy, continuing to have a thriving economy of SMEs, like we have in Europe, and so on and so forth. So, today we have a fantastic panel with 4 speakers to discuss about the resilience of the European economy through circularity, in particular with a focus on SMEs. We also have our host, Gerardo de Lutzenberger, who will be moderating the Q&A session later. And we also have Raquel Benmergui, who's there, who's our visual recording artist. You might have seen some of her work there, and she will do a visual recording of the session. But without further ado, I would like to introduce the 4 speakers who will speak in this order. First of all, we have Lenka Minarova, who is a board member of Navigate, which is a Czech company which has an innovative technology producing biopolymers from waste oil without using inputs for which there is competition, for instance, for food and agriculture as well. Then we have Alexandra Rochard-Nordquist, who's a human rights activist and CEO of Luz. Luz builds schools made of plastic bottles in Bolivia. Then we have Arthur ten Wolde, who's a circularity expert and executive director of Entrepreneurship, which is the federation of circular businesses in Europe. And finally, we have Petri Salminen, who's the president of SME United. I don't think I have to explain to anybody here or online what and who SME United is. So without further ado, I'll give the floor to Lenka Minarova.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy that I can share with you our journey because doing anything in circular economy is hard work, but it's fascinating because you can change our world as well. And first part of my presentation is focusing on opportunities, and the second part on obstacles and barrier to creating circular economy. From my point of view, opportunities are go global with EU solutions because circular economy, it's not topic about Czech Republic or about EU. It's a really global topic. And if we would like to change something, my recommendation is doing project with the biggest brands worldwide. And it was our journey. Because we're creating nature factory, it means that biopolymer is producing by microorganism, and microorganisms are eating bio-waste. For example, used cooking oil or beer waste. And this is example of our pilot with the 100+ accelerator. It's global accelerator in sustainability, and our partners are Anheuser-Busch, the biggest one of the biggest retail company worldwide, and Colgate-Palmolive. And together we create solution how to utilize not only waste cooking oil, but beer waste as well for biopolymer production. And with Colgate-Palmolive, we're creating new products for global market. And this project takes only 8 months, and during 8 months, we are ready to launch new products in waterless cosmetics segment to the global market. And there are impacts and results. We create a life cycle assessment, and we can save food, we can save water, and we can save CO2. And from my point of view, this is the most important to create impacts and to save our environment. And as I mentioned, we are ready now for go to global market with 2 products. So opportunities, go global if it's possible, if you are ready for, if your solution is ready for global market. And obstacles, barriers. From my point of view, it's a lack of investment for circular economy. And these are not my numbers. There are numbers of European Commission. And the investment gap in circular economy is 13 billion euro. And this money is lacking especially for small and medium companies. And without this money, our solutions should be only ideas. No real project with real impact. So we have to solve this issue, and I'm sure that we will find the right solution for European small and medium companies. Thank you very much.
So what does a circular economy and green transition really mean for the EU economy? Yeah, it means a radical change, a radical ideas, and a radical driving force. How do we transform this big solution into local solutions? Well, 1 year ago, I started my project, Luz. What we do is that we innovate cities in rural areas in Bolivia. We are doing this by establishing recycling systems. I will tell you about my journey. So I started my project in school with education. In education, they really reinforced the idea of my company being environmentally friendly and sustainable. They set the grand value for our project. And the values are really important for it being sustainable and circular and having this kind of mindset. I started with building my network and team. I live in Sweden. I thought, who is the #1 climate person in Sweden? And that is Greta Thunberg. So I went to meet her on a strike, which went well, and I got some feedback. My idea was so different back then. They said, is that all you're going to do? This implemented a belief in me that I could and I should do more. Throughout the time, my idea progressed, and it became what it it with what I am doing now, which is building school with the eco-brick technique. We are throughout recycling systems, we make people separate plastic from food waste, and with the plastic we build schools with eco-brick technique, and with the food waste we turn into compost, which we then sell. My idea was hard to explain for investors because it implemented a radical change. We had to make this idea more familiar, and for us, for the investors, and for the community. We did this by just simply going to the place and see what they needed. Because we knew that if this would happen, we needed to create, implement, and maintain this all together, the community. And so we started. We introduced our idea, and it got received well. We started with points, actions. And the change that happened because of the individuals living there, which is so necessary. To succeed or not? Well, we didn't succeed until we minimized the gap between our beliefs, core norms, and values. So if you want to succeed also, you might be needed to ask yourself why you're failing and why the institutions are failing. Change did not happen for us until we strategized with the people living there. We need to be inclusive in every step that we take. We need to look out for the loopholes. We need to be 100% in it. For example, climate change and the Green Deal. We cannot be working 40% putting effort into it and supporting it, and then 60% we are supporting other initiatives that works against our mission. We want to have this sustainable and circular economy, but if this is going to be our reality, we need also to think about ourselves and what do we want to do for this to become a reality. So what are you guys doing for this to become a reality? And then we might need to think what our values are. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also grateful to be here and to present Ecopreneur, the European Sustainable Business Federation. The topic that I would like to discuss is why sustainable SMEs, and then I mean the ones that are already doing it and the ones that are committed to sustainability, hold the key to the circular economy. But what is Ecopreneur first? Well, we represent about 3,000 companies, and 2,900 of them are small and medium-sized enterprises, and they are scattered across all kinds of sectors. For instance, eco-hotels or their organic bakers, actually you name it, also in the food sector, manufacturing, and they are typically the leaders and also increasingly fast followers. And on top of that, we also have about 100 large companies that are also leading in the sustainability development. And for instance, just two examples out of those 2,900, one of them called Bliss, and social enterprise providing cacao farmers education for improved farmer health. And another one, Lisa Moore from Gutendis Glux, offering products of the best quality that are socially and ecologically fair in the fair fashion. And all of these companies have also, they're showing that it can already be done in the linear economy, but they also have wishes for their national governments in each member state and also for the European Union. And by the way, we are now represented in 7 member states, but we're looking for 20 more. So if you know a green business network in your member state, please let me know. We did some research last year, based also on numbers of the European Commission, and so we identified main barriers and also main enablers. And what we found is that about 3% of SMEs are leaders, so they're leading in the area of sustainability. So most of our member companies are from that group. And then there's a group of about 21% that are the fast followers. And like I said, an increasing group is now joining our 7 members in the member states, the Green Business Networks. But most SMEs are what they call, in the literature, they are reactive. They are conventional SMEs, and they come into action only if the client demands it, and also if really needed by regulation. Although this morning we heard that they are less responsive to regulation even than large companies. So what are main enablers? Well, one that I want to stress is the one on top on the right. It's the regional circularity hubs to support SMEs. So in this report, that is, by the way, available online on our website, ecopreneur.eu, we have 3 recommendations. And by the way, I want to begin with a first message, and that is about the urgency. Because our members, already when we were founded in 2016, they stressed the urgency of the whole transition to a sustainable economy. On this conference, sustainability is now central, but still what I hear is it's just one topic. Our members think that it should be central to the whole discussion. And then what do we recommend? First of all, ambitious sustainability regulations. We made, I think, and we think, there's a big progress this year because 2 regulations were proposed in Brussels. One is the SPI, the Sustainable Product Initiative. And this is really important for all companies, it's for you also to know. There will be a regulation for every product on the EU market with minimum requirements for the sustainability, like it should be repairable, it should be reusable. That's a major change. And we think it should be ambitious. Also, for instance, for the packaging, industry was complaining that the new packaging regulation, which was leaked, was too ambitious because it stressed reuse. We think it should stress reuse. Okay, the second, economic incentives. Our members are asking for a tax shift, for an overhaul of the tax system. Change the tax from labor to resources. Also use all other means like the VAT, extended producer responsibility, the CO2 pricing, to create true pricing of products. Because look at the gas prices. Now that the natural gas prices are increasing, now you get a movement towards sustainability. We need price incentives because the demand is otherwise too low and the competition from linear products is too large. And finally, again, we would like to see the European Commission to invest in about 100 regional circularity and digital hubs to help SMEs on how to do that. Because many SMEs would like to become sustainable, but they really don't know how. I train SMEs myself. This can be done. You can teach them life cycle thinking in a few days and then they can go ahead. This morning I was very glad with the discussion on the vouchers, because that's the second part. These hubs should have vouchers with very easy access to small amounts of subsidy like 5,000 or 10,000 euros, because indeed our members complain that the current subsidies from European Commission like Horizon are totally unreachable for them. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and wow, there was some inspiring examples that we heard concerning the circular economy and business models in it. Myself, I'm the representative of the generalism in this panel, and of course, the SME United, we do support the Green Deal and the objectives of it, and therefore also the circular economy. But the reason behind why we have such a strong support is, well, obviously the fact that this planet has to survive to future generations as well, but also circular economy demonstrates the nature of entrepreneurship. By using something that already exists, you can create entirely new business models. And I would compare it or make a comparison, since I'm a consultant entrepreneur myself. we consultants tend to suggest often that, or pretend that there is some sort of a mechanism or puzzle that you can put together and the end result would be a functioning and prosperous business model. But actually, what the business is, or the problem with the puzzle, is that the end result is already pre-designed by someone else. And that's not the nature of entrepreneurship. As we heard, the true nature of entrepreneurship is like a Lego set. The blocks, the pieces are the same for every entrepreneur there is, but every entrepreneur, every individual can come up with individual end result. And that's the beauty of circular economy. There are pieces, there are raw materials, there are techniques, there are knowledge, competencies, finances, premises, machinery that are same for everyone. But entrepreneurs are the ones creating the end result that creates more sustainable future for us all. Well, I could list the problems concerning the circular economy, which often are related to excessive red tape and administrative burdens, but I believe that in this panel, in my initial presentation, I won't go to problems, I will leave it to possibilities that the circular economy has for us all and for this planet. Maybe we can discuss about the problems afterwards.
So, thank you very much. Give a hand for our 4 speakers. Now we come to the interactive part of our session, and I give the floor to Geraldo de Lutzenberger, who is our host, who will manage the Q&A session.
Yeah. Thank you, Stefano. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, really inspiring stories we have heard, and it's really interesting to see what you all are doing for, in some way, moving to circular economy or assisting enterprises moving to circular economy. And in this part, we would like also to give you the floor and see what you are doing regarding circular economy. What are your reflections? What are your ideas? And even what are your question marks? Because maybe you have a question mark or even more than just one regarding circular economy. And as you know, can I have please the remote control? Yeah, thank you. And as you have seen, the focus in this assembly is really on the SME relief package. Okay, so we are there, and in any session we are talking about the SME relief package. And so my question to you is, what would you like to see regarding circular economy in the SME relief package? Is there anything you are discussing at your level in your organizations regarding that? Is there any idea you have, any proposal? And the invitation I'm doing now is just to think also to real concrete proposals, not just very general concept. We all agree on them, but here now the call is also to understand what Europe can really do for small and medium enterprise. So from now, what I'm doing is just inviting you to look for a fellow delegate and just find a couple of fellow delegates that are sitting to you, with you, next to you, or maybe just take the chance also to speak to someone you don't know if you are sitting with a close friend or a colleague. And just take some minutes, let's say 10 minutes, to discuss what's happening at your level and what are the ideas you are discussing regarding the circular economy, and what could be your proposal for the SME relief package, okay? So you can just move, stand, find a fellow delegate and start talking with them. And then after these 10 minutes, we will open the conversation. You can make and share your ideas of the proposal you have been discussing, or just ask a question to our speakers or to Stefano, and just have a little bit of conversation regarding that. Is that clear? Yeah? So your time starts now. You have 10 minutes from now. I hope you had a good conversation with the other delegates, and now it's the moment just to, you can call me and I will give you the microphone if there is anything you want to share with the other, any idea or things that would you like to see included in the SME relief package, or any question to our speakers. Yes.
Yeah, now it works. Good afternoon. My name is Bruno Delepierre from Biopolymer, Belgium. We're an R&D organization working on sustainable transformation, both on organizational level, city level, and above local level. With some boots on the ground on circular economy, we've created a circular hub in Leuven with the city and other stakeholders. And we're also working with other cities across the EU. And what we've seen is, as Mr. Truolde said, is that cities need additional resources, and I do mean funding, to have targeted professionals in the administration funded to organize circular economy on a local level. So that proposition for digital or circular hubs is definitely something that is very valuable. I would also strongly advocate to better organize the process of change, because there's no single SME. Some SMEs are ready, some are not. And based on their, let's say, change maturity, you need different actions. So that's something that could benefit the transition much more quickly. And I think we also need to take into account that with the existing crisis, companies are struggling to keep the boat afloat because they need to guarantee continuity, and they don't have the resources, energy, money, time to change. And I think that's something that could be facilitated by the Commission.
Thank you. And then I'm coming to you.
Yes, I think I can connect to what was just said. One topic we discussed was that especially micro enterprises who want to engage in the circular economy don't find the finance for it. But the finance actually is there, but to find the access to it and to make it less bureaucratic to get the money is a key issue here, to get this capital you need. And here I suggested to pick up the proposal which was by Arthur presented with this regional circular hubs, which could be supported by the relief package, because these regional circular hubs could help in accessing financing, in providing specific circular business model know-how, etc. So I think that's lacking right now, the specific knowledge about how to do a circular business model, and these regional hubs could provide it. And we also discussed why do the chambers of commerce and the other types of organizations which are around already don't do that yet. they don't have the knowledge, the specific knowledge. That's why I think the idea of having such a regional circular hub is very good, and we would support that.
Great.
Thank you.
Since funding has already been mentioned a couple of times, I'll keep it quite concise. I work for mainly the Dutch retail sector via the Dutch SME Association. And earlier this year, we got the study via Eurocommerce, our European association, which resulted in 600 million being needed to stay competitive as a retail, as a European retail sector, mainly focusing, of course, on digitalization, sustainability, and creating the right skills to remain competitive vis-à-vis the rest of the world. And also here, funding will remain a big issue. Looking at COVID, still a lot of debt, especially for SMEs, now high energy prices, inflation. These are huge issues for the sector, and this is, I think, why, again, access to funding, as has been mentioned, should be really considered in this package.
Thank you. We have a couple of questions from online. One is for Arthur, and it's so regarding the economic incentive, how far do the incentives need to go so the circular economy would level up the level playing field? How can we prevent losing competitiveness of SMEs in this regard?
Okay, yeah, thanks for the question. And first, something I forgot to tell about our research is that we found that 60% of pollution and 60% of the CO2 emissions come from SMEs. That was a surprise to us, but this comes from figures from research reports. So this means that you can have no circular or sustainable economy without engaging the SMEs, say one by one. And then, so this is a very important question. So how far does it have to go? Well, for instance, what we often say is that it's about true pricing. That means that the external damage that a linear product puts on the world, like the pollution and also the financial damage from a product, needs to be included in the price. And that means that a very polluting product like maybe a jeans will become very expensive. Now this is mud jeans, this is a circular one, which I send back to the company after use, and therefore it stays in the loop. And then the price for a circular one can be cheaper. So that is the main thing, that the price incentive, it reflects the true price, including the external damage, so that the sustainable products and services will always be cheaper than the linear ones. And about the competitiveness, this means that there will be needed a transition period for the conventional SMEs, like you saw, that's 3/4 of all SMEs. A few years to innovate, to eco-innovate towards the solutions that are truly sustainable. And then they can all compete, and that's what we believe in. We believe that the market can solve the problems that we're now facing, including all the crises, and can become resilient if we create a level playing field. And we believe, and that's maybe for interesting discussion, that ambitious regulation can drive the innovation.
Petri, you want to add something, I know.
Yeah, just listening to Arthur, well, you said that 60% of pollution comes from SMEs, but at the same time, SMEs represent 99.8% of all companies, so it shows that SMEs are quite sustainable already in that sense. As I know, the entrepreneurs are doing what they can currently. We heard about the current situation, the crisis that we are living within, that resources are scarce. But still, SMEs are investing already to energy transition and trying to figure out the ways to reduce the dependencies, for example, to Russia, to China, to fossil fuels, and so on. And I, as an optimist, I believe, and it's not a matter of belief as such, that when the customers, when the lenders, the financial institutions are making the statement and have been making the statement that they are financing the companies that are sustainable, that will create a whole new market. And we we need both. We need more effective use of new raw materials as such in order to feed the circular economy. Because if there's no novelty being built, there's no waste or leftovers to be produced as well. So we need both. We need development in both sides.
Thank you. And then we have another question online, which actually I read it. It looks more like a proposal, but I just read it to you because it ends with a question mark, by the way. And is, can the EU help to create a consumer mind shift? That is, with communication campaigns to make more recycling fashionable in end products, means to accept a little less product surface quality like visual spot marks in produced product surfaces. This would be loosen product quality requirements in the whole supply chain. And then
briefly, but maybe you can also say something about this. Yes, I think that the European Union and member states can have an impact on the minds of consumers by pointing out that reuse and recycling are good for the economy and good for our standard and well-being, standard of living and well-being. But at the same time, people can say one thing, but what they do in the end, to a large extent, depends on the price of the product. So again, I come back to the price.
If I may, maybe as European institutions, we don't have the capability and the muscle to reach every single citizen. As Arthur said, we need the member states. But there's a great example of nudging consumers, not only about the price, and it's eco-design and energy labeling. When you go buy a fridge now, you look at the energy label to see how much it consumes. If you washing machine, same. And if you get a washing machine that costs 150 euros more, but saves you 40 euros or 50 euros in electricity a year, you have it written on the label, and and with the prices of energy now, it's important. And this is exactly, you mentioned the SPI, the Eco-Design for Sustainable Products Regulation, which is a proposal which are now negotiating. My team, together with other colleagues, is negotiating with Parliament and Council. We've taken exactly the model, the successful model of eco-design, which is only for energy and water using products and only focused on the use phase, on consumption. And we are stretching it across to other products and throughout the life cycle of a product, from design to end of life, reuse, recycle, waste, etc., etc. And it's great. It's been copied throughout the world, and this shows the importance of being a first mover and a front runner. And it saves every year billions to consumers, a lot of money to businesses, promoting front runners, promoting the best businesses, of which a lot are in Europe. And it saves every year the equivalent of the whole complete GHG emissions of Poland. So.
Thank you. Lenka, yes. And then Raquel, be ready to show what you are harvesting.
Because I am sociology, so I know that consumers are confused. So they don't understand about circular economy, about impact. So we have to translate to them really eco-design solution or environmental solution. And right now exist initiatives like EcoScore Beauty Consortium, which create new eco-scoring model, something similar like in energy. But I would like to mention one crucial issue, and it's greenwashing, because this is drawback of a real sustainable activity, and greenwashing is a horrible issue, and it's necessary to solve this issue at the same way how the issue how communicate with consumers, because greenwashing means that consumers don't trust our claims and declarations. So it's drawback of sustainability and circular economy, and it's a really big issue.
Thank you. If we can just project Raquel's screen, so the harvesting from the iPad. Yes, thank you. And I would also invite Stefano to close.
Briefly conclude.
Yeah.
Okay, take home, I mean, in a nutshell, it was a short but very rich session, very inspiring speakers. I take home two things. The first one is that the circular revolution is on the march, is a reality, is not an aspiration. We needed to reach the sustainability objectives that I was mentioning before: climate and environment, economic and financial, political, geopolitical, and social. There are a number of enabling issues. The first thing is that we have to turn the big ideas into local solutions, applicable, be it on schools made with recycled materials, or biopolymers made with waste, or have regional circularity hubs on the ground. What do we need to achieve that? First of all, an enabling regulatory framework. You know, if to access funds, you have to do what in French is called le parcours de combattant, a war drill, it's difficult to, you know, reach to SMEs in particular. And if you have definitions of waste that were defined when waste was stuff that ended up either in landfill or in incineration, they are not fit for purpose, they're not future-proof, they're pretty useless if you want to use waste to make biopolymers that are used in the food chain or in cosmetics, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to get our act together in Brussels, but also in Prague and all the other 26 capitals, I would like to add. And second part of this enabling framework is that we need the right incentives with investment that reward innovators and frontrunners. And this is going to be a crucial success factor for the expansion of eco-design, because the name of the game is to crowd out gently the worst performing products and to phase in the best performing products, the more circular, the genuinely greener, those which promote a reduction of emissions and a true circular use of resources. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Stefano. Thank you to all the panelists. Final thing, we have, can we go back to the presentation, please? We have a Slido. So you can go to Slido, and this is the question we ask you to reply. This is, what concrete ideas would we like to put forward to the SMEs relief package? And you can input your ideas here, and but also in the Ideas Lounge, which is out there near the coffee. You can come there and continue the conversation with us, and also posting your ideas on the board. And the main idea is what we can really do, and what would you like to see in the SME relief package about circular economy. Okay. Thank you very much, and see you around the other session of the conference.